What's up, guys? Today we got Trainer Talk, episode 8 with Grant and Colin. Special guest Nate Norman on today. He is the founder of SRX 90 program, which is he is going to talk to us today about. But yeah, Nate, it's great to have you on, man. Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me, man. It's always good to sit down with some guys who are like-minded, have fitness at the forefront of their life, and are making steps every day to be a little bit better. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, brother. Absolutely. Great to have you on. Great to have you on. So Nate, maybe first we can just kind of right off the bat. Your Twitter bio. I forget the exact way it's worded, but I know SRX 90 is kind of the program you run. Maybe just tell us a little bit more about that program and how it works, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. SRX 90, it stands for Save, Reclaim, and Multiply. And what it is kind of a story of my life, Grant. It's we save men from slipping into the purposeless drifting of life, right? That gray man, that void living, that purposeless living. We reclaim our identities, we reclaim our fitness, we reclaim our faith, and
Yeah.
we reclaim that towards a positive purpose. And we
Right.
multiply our movement by giving it away, dude. A man ought not to have certain sets of gifts and not give them away. So
Right.
save, reclaim, and multiply, man. It was the sad story of my life, man, where I was in life. And I said, you know what? There's things that I need to be doing, bro. There's things that I need to be putting my hand on in order to be the best version of a man that I can be on the face of this earth. And
Yeah.
dude, yeah, we see this, right? We see this with Jocko, right? We see this with Goggins, right? We see this with the Tate brothers, right? There is a level of discipline and assertiveness and forward motion that a man ought to employ, right? So what does this look like for me? A man who believes in Christ, a man who's a Christian. It looks a little different, but it's very similar. So
Right.
that's where SRX came from, man. And it's basically 12 disciplines a day for the duration of 90 days. And obviously, I run this full time. The guys that I bring onto the program, we do it for 90 days, but I live these 12 day in, day out, brother, and I love it.
That's awesome, bro. Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you that as a man, it's like there's certain things that are kind of expected, and there's certain things you need to do in order to, whether you're a father, like providing for your family, or whatever it might be. So that's awesome that I think you're leading men in the right direction, in the positive direction there.
Yeah, dude, it's been fun, man. It's been awesome, man. We do certain things. One of the disciplines is cold exposure,
Yeah,
daily cold exposure, getting in that ice. And we're seeing this swirl now of all the dudes getting into the ice, man. Everybody's on board with this, which is great. And I might because it's becoming trendy, change it, but for the time being, the ice sits. But the idea of this ice, man, is this one discipline is a man ought to seek and schedule daily difficulty. I don't care what it is, right? It doesn't have to be ice, right? It doesn't have to be you getting in cold water. It could be getting that 600 off the floor, right? It doesn't matter what it is. You schedule the adversity and you do it regularly, right? I
100%.
go to this difficulty every single day, right? Let's meet again, you dirty dog. Let's go, right?
I love that. I love that. Yeah, no, 100%. I think with the ice thing, I love doing ice baths, cold exposure. The nice thing about living in Chicago in the winter is you can just get outside, and like I love to just do my all my runs and stuff outside, whether it's cold, snowing, raining, whatever it might be, and just kind of face that head on, like you said. But Colin, I know you're living in Indy. It's a similar vibe in the winter.
I don't know if it's winter. 60 degrees last week.
60?
It
What?
was it was 60 degrees last
Crazy.
Thursday.
That's
Because I woke up and I walked outside and I was like, what the hell? Like I had pants on, a sweatshirt, and a coat. And I was like, man, gotta get ready to go to the gym. And I was like, I'm sweating. So
That's crazy. Wow, I didn't
yeah,
know it was that warm. It's been like in the 30s here, so
I think we're back down to normal 30s, but
30s is like
like,
pretty
yeah.
standard.
Well, boys,
But
if y'all ever
go
get tired of that weather, you can come down south. It's sunshiny and 70 today, man, and I
Yeah,
love
man.
it. Give me
Honestly,
that
like
give me that shirtless weather year round, right? That's what I want,
man.
dude. I want suntans and grills going and yards being mowed and dogs playing all year round, dude. Bump the winter, dude.
yeah.
Man, speak for yourself. I still wear a shirtless out in the middle of winter.
Uh, Same, but I feel better when it's sunny. My energy and my vibe, it's like Superman, dude. I'm connected to that sun, dude. Give it to me, man.
Man, I'm about to make a trip down south, is what I'm hearing.
Come on, bro. Come on.
I'll be there in 12 hours, however long it takes to get to wherever. Now, going back to your SRX 90, what does a typical day look like running that program for you?
Yeah, so that's a good question, Colin. So the first thing that we establish is a set of these 12 disciplines. And I wrote these based off my life. And what I do with my clients at the end of 90 days, I encourage them to write their own disciplines. You know, the things that you do on a daily basis that make you your best self. So for me, the best thing that I could do is rise early. You know, I want to rise before my family. I've got young kids and I work a construction job still. And so I want to rise early and I want to take care of myself first. You know, you cannot give what you do not have. You cannot fill somebody else's tanks if you're running on E. So the important thing for men these days is to set up those first waking hours for forward progress, right? And dude, we live in a slothful world, right? There's just people who are just downright lazy. Rising early could be one of the most difficult things that men do, right? And it's like, oh, dude, I don't see how I can do it. Well, you got to walk it back a little bit, Colin, right? We got to walk it back. What are you doing the night before that makes it hard to get up in the morning? Are you binging on Netflix? Are you doom scrolling, right? Are you staying up pounding beers late into the evening? Well, no, duh. It's going to be hard to get up at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning because you've walked it back into a counterproductive method. So, first discipline is rise early. For me, I'm a Christian, so I want to take care of my spirit. I want to grow my spirit. So I get into the Bible, 1 hour with God and prayer. That could be worship. That could be all whatever you incorporate into your quiet time, but you spend 1 hour with God. There's so many distractions coming at us, guys. I feel it's important for men to dial in, right? Set the distractions aside, set the phone aside, handle the work emails later, and fix your spirit. Align with true north. Get that compass set in the right direction so you can start your day armored up, prepared to go and face battle like we ought to do. The third thing that we add is a gratitude, man. Daily gratitude every single day, right? And we're seeing the rise of the popularity of the gratitude because it really is a game changer, man. And it's the shift of focus where we say, I there might be a bunch of crap actually happening, but I'm going to try to see some good today, right? Thank you, God, for my family, right? Thank you, God, for my car, my job, my house, my bed that I slept in, my body, my physical health, the breath, anything, right? We could be thankful, but it takes our eyes off of, oh man, the traffic's bad. And dude, I've really been practicing this. Like, it's one thing to write gratitude, guys. Isn't it another thing to like say it? Y'all ever got up in the morning and be like, I slept like crap, right? Or you go into the gym and you start saying, I don't feel like it today, right? I know y'all said that because we all go to the gym and there's just days you don't feel it. But I've been catching myself on the negative internal thought. Instead of just saying, hey, I slept like crap, I've been trying to say, man, thank God for another day. All right. When I don't feel like going to the gym, I'm not even going to say the words, I don't feel like it. I'm just going to say it's going to be a good workout and begin changing that internal narrative. So that's what that one's for. The fourth discipline is to drink 1 gallon of water a day. Right. And in turn, you would hopefully eliminate some of the other things you drink, right? So 1 gallon of water a day. We're going to exercise 45 minutes a day. A man ought to be physical. Daily cold exposure, like we talked about, every single day, getting in that cold. We're going to follow a meal plan and eat clean, right? This can be whatever you want. I'm gonna try beef, salt, and water for the next 14
Ooh,
days.
nice.
Just beef, salt, and water, and I'm gonna lead that into a carnivore style. But this kind of a purge thing that I'm on right now, I'm gonna do beef, salt, and water. So we suggest follow a meal plan, and that could be whatever the guys want to do. Here's one that I add to my group that most men are like, why do you add this one? Number 8 is encourage one person a day. Guys,
Ooh.
I feel like deeply in my soul that if I can't bless somebody up and encourage somebody and give them a fist bump, then I'm wasting my time, dude. I'm wasting my time. And if you ever run a race with me or you get out there and do a Spartan or we're in the gym together, dude, I'm coming to you and I'm like, bro, that was good. Good lift. Let's go. Right. Keep moving. You know why? Because I need that. Right. I need men to come alongside me and boost me up and support me and encourage me. So I want to give away the very things that I want to be done to me in life. Give it away, bro. So I encourage my men to bless one person a day, your wife, your kids, your friends, your mom, your dad, your coworkers, whoever it is, bless up, right? Be the blessing, not the bummer. And so that's number 8. Number 9 is no pornography, man. Pornography is a poison.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I've had a lot of people push back on me on this one, dude. I'm coming up on 40 years old, and they're like, well, you're dead. So you don't have the desires that a young man has. Let me tell you why I don't have that desire. I have that desire, but it's not fulfilled through pornography. It's not fulfilled through a fake lust, right? it's not fulfilled that way. And I have enough discipline and self-control to withhold and not jack off like a bum in my mom's basement, right? Because I'm a full grown man. So I would tell the men to avoid pornography, right? Number 10, radio silence. This is just a time when you come home in the evening and you set your phone down. I know you guys are in different seasons of life, but for me, when I come home, I have kids who have been waiting all day to see me, right? The worst thing I can do when I walk through that door is start my scrolling, right? And dude, we run businesses from our phones. You guys know how this is. It's tough to put that phone down. You got to engage in the first thing first, bro. Priorities, man. Priorities. So I encourage radio silence once a day for whatever time slot is the most valuable for your family or for other people. Last two, no alcohol for the duration of the 90 days. Sobriety is one of the difficult things for men to accomplish, but it is worth its weight in gold. I'm a firm believer that alcohol is a deterrent to purpose. And number 12 is walk a minimum of 7,000 steps a day. Motion is medicine. You guys know that. And that's the gist of the program. And I wrote this because when I do these 12 things, I'm my best man, right? That's what it looks like.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I think like you hit on a lot of really good ones as you were going through that list. A couple that kind of resonated with me, like no alcohol. That's one that I've adopted within the past like 4 or 5 months. I haven't touched it at all, and I've like noticed a huge increase. Part of it is because like I'm training for probably some the most ambitious goals that I've had in my lifetime this year with fitness, and I just really wanted to make sure I'm ready to tackle that all in. But a lot of really good stuff like no alcohol, no porn, walking every day, doing some exercise every day. I think that stuff's all awesome, man.
Yeah, dude, it doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be like, I'm gonna start keto, man, and I'm gonna go to the gym 6 days a week and I'm gonna do everything all at once. Just little steps, man. Take care of your spirit, drink
For
enough
sure.
water,
For
eat the
sure.
right food, and get rid of the poisons in life, dude. And it's very simple, man. It's very simple. Compounded actions daily progress to monuments over time, right?
Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest things is I know a lot of men struggle with pornography. I never did simply because I don't want to say like I want to like sugarcoat this. I was very sexually active from a very young age. And so I never fell into that trap, but I fell more into the trap of seeking the hookups, seeking the one night stands with just random people. And I think I'm coming up, it will be in August. I will have hit 2 years now of straight abstinence. And it was hard at first because, I've had a girlfriend now, it'll be 3 years in August. And, forever, from the start of our relationship, we were having sex. We were, we weren't fulfilling the godly duties that we were blessed to do. And so coming up in August, it'll hit my 2 years of that. And I think that is a big milestone for many people, especially not if they never fell in the pornography trap, but they fell in the lustful trap of seeking the sexual desires that weren't meant to be seeked until after marriage.
Mm, that's a good point, dude. You bring up an argument here. It's not necessarily the porn itself, right? That is the issue. There's an underlying issue is why you're seeking it, right? So you could correlate that to premarital sex. You can correlate that to any fulfillment that we go into that's not meant for us to walk into, right? You're following a need and a desire, right? And an urge when self-control should be the issue, right? And you could apply that to any gamut of things that we face. You could apply that to alcohol, right? You need to fulfill an urge for self-control, right? You need to not overindulge. Let's talk about food, overeating and pushing away from the table, self-control. And when you apply that self-control, that's a good point, Colin. It runs into every element of a man's life. It's a virtue, man. It's a pillar. It's one of the arrows that a man should have in his quiver. Self-control, absolutely, man.
Definitely, definitely. And yeah, this is I guess going a little bit off the script we have here, Colin. But one question that I kind of have that I thought of when you were going through these details, Nate, is like, what would you do or how would you coach somebody if, like, say somebody came in and they were struggling like big time in a lot of these areas at once. Maybe they're drinking every night and they're eating shit food and never working out, never walking, et cetera, et cetera. Like, how would you put them into these full kind of 12 areas all at once? Would you kind of slowly introduce them to them? Like, how would you kind of go about doing that?
That's a good question, Grant. There's what I like to call the soft start, man. And you know that you can't sometimes cold turkey if that drive is not in you. It's hard to walk away from a lifestyle of 20 years of back work and say, all right, day one on February 1st, I'm going to be doing 12 new things. There needs
Yeah.
to be a replacement of bad habits and do a soft start, right? So if we're gonna attack drinking first, right? What we're gonna institute is we're just gonna start with some water, right? Don't worry about any of the other disciplines. Don't worry about all the other 11. I just
Right.
want you to start drinking water, right? Every single time that you want to have a beer, we're talking when the grill fires up, steaks are on the grill, and you want to have a beer. The golf carts go and you want to have a beer. You're at the pool, you want to have a beer. Your buddies come over, you want to have a beer. You need to replace what you have in your hand with something beneficial, right? Still be there, still have a good vibe, still have good energy.
Yep.
Don't just recluse to your house and to the cave. Still be there and have a good time, but replace what you have in your hand. We can talk about LaCroix or some seltzer waters, right? Some different methods for you to have that fix of having something in your hands and be in that social setting and still drink something, but let it be beneficial to your system, right? And they're going to feel better. And after a week or two, we're going to institute step two, right? Step two, discipline two, whatever the case may be. Now I want you to rise early. You've not drank for a week and a half, 2 weeks. Let's start waking up a little bit early. And dude, you guys know when you wake up early, you're just driven, right? There's just like, what am I going to do with my time? I'm up, right? Let's go. Work out, walk, read. And it automatically filters them into the next categories of growth. It's almost like they want to, as God intended it to be. You set a man up for success. They start feeling alive and they want to move forward, right? No one's grabbing that rope and pulling these men forward. They're like, I want this. I feel good. Yeah, you do, right? Because you got crap out of the life, right?
Really right. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, that totally makes sense. I think that seems like a good way to kind of ease in. I know, Colin, I don't know exactly how you tackle this with your program too, but at least from a strict fitness perspective, like my program, that's what I'll have clients do if they're really struggling with like a lot of different areas. I kind of just slowly introduce things to them to make it as digestible as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
I
then
think
every now and go ahead, Colin. Sorry.
no, you good, man. You good.
I was gonna say every now and again you'll meet this dude with the heart of a lion, bro. He's a he's a savage, right? He's been laying low for a little while, and you'll meet this dude, and he's like, I want all 12, and I want to start today. We ain't starting the program till I don't know March 1st, and he's like, I want to start today. And you
Right.
meet
Right.
this man, and you're like, bro, I see you. Let's go, right? I see your heart, dude. And that's what fires me up in coaching, dude. When you meet the bro who's got the heart of a lion, who's ready
Yeah.
to just pound pavement and go, right? Yeah, they're out of shape and yeah, they're doing crap, but they cut it all out and they're ready to move forward. I love that. That fires me up, dude.
Yeah, I was mentioning something about this. I had a client who he was also blue collar. He was a lineman. He was working 12, 14-hour days. And he's like, man, like I know what I gotta do and I want to do it, but like I just, you work 12 hours, you don't want to go do anything after that. You want to go home and lay in bed. Like I don't same here. I'd want to do the exact same if I worked that long. But it was just that little motivation. And I think from the start, he was sending me pictures of him in the gym at 3:30 a.m. saying I woke up early to hit this gym session. And then there was something happened down south and he traveled down there. He stopped halfway in Tennessee, I think. He bought a set of bands to hit banded workouts during his like time off or like during like off time. I was like, man, like this guy is a fucking heart of a lion. That is the guy that, you just tell him what to do and he's going to have it done no matter what.
Yeah.
He's on, dude. He's on. He don't need motivation, bro. He don't need you and me coming behind him and spoon feed him. This dude needs a kick and he's rolling, right? I love that, dude. I love that, man. There's a guy that I met at Zach Hommel's conference in Colorado named Nick, and he was a lineman. And the dude was working out at 2:30 in the morning every day. 2:30 in the morning. I'm like, bro, I don't even know if that's sustainable, man. And he's on Instagram, and I think his name was Nick Marshall. I'm trying to find him right now, but the dude was just on fire, and I'm like, something when I meet a guy like that, it starts something back up in me, right? When I get around a dude who's burning and on all cylinders, dude, I'm like, let's go, right? Something in my heart reckons with your heart. It's like brothers of the same spirit, bro. And maybe this because I spend so much of my time in coaching with dudes who I'm trying to call up to a higher standard that when I meet a brother on fire, I'm like, all right, let's both burn, bro. You're setting me up. I'm setting you up, man. I'm encouraged by the fact that there's other men out here living on fire, right? I need it. I love it. I got to be around those people, man. I love it.
Amen, bro. Absolutely. Uh, Cool. So one of the other things I want to talk about too, I guess maybe kind of on the opposite side of this, right? So you have like the man on fire who's ready to jump in and just go and crush it. I think you talked about like this concept of the gray man earlier. Maybe could you go into that in a little bit more detail?
Yeah, the gray man, Grant, is man, we all have the propensity to become the gray man. My pastor says it like this. He says it doesn't matter how far down the road you are, you're still that close to the ditch. You're one turn away from the ditch. I don't care if you've been on the road for 20 miles, 20 years, 50 years. The ditch is still right there. And so it's our job as men to keep ourselves out of the ditch, right? Out of the derail, out of the pothole. And so the gray man is this man who has kind of lost the drive to do, right? You've gotten burnout in your career, or you've gotten burnout with your physicality or your fitness. You've kind of just gone through the motions for a long time. And you look around your life one day and nothing has any color to it. It's all just ho hum, right? It's the Eeyore syndrome. It's gray, right? The clouds are coming in, and all you can see in your entire world is the gray spectrum, man. And you don't have any sex drive. You don't have any passion for life. There's no passion for financial betterment or for marriage or for ministry or for anything in your life that once brought you joy. It's all gone flatline. You know, Adam Sandler did a good movie about this called Click. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Click, and he just began to slowly click through his life. He found a magic remote control at a Bed Bath and Beyond or
Yeah.
something, and he would just fast forward through certain things that he wanted to get through. He's like, all right, I got this birthday party for my nephew. I'm gonna fast forward through this. And the next thing you know, he's just fast forwarded, fast forwarded, fast forwarded, fast forwarded, and he wakes up and he's like, nothing matters. I've clicked through every good event in my life, and this is part of the gray man's problem, right? One day he just wakes up and he's just rolled through, and he's 40 or he's 30 or he's 20 or whatever, and there's nothing that matters anymore. You've got to begin to put purpose back in its proper place, right? You've got to find the reason you were put on this earth. And one of the questions I ask men when talking about the gray man is, why are you here? Right? Why are you here? Most men will give me an answer like their vocation, right? I'm an electrician, or I was here. I'm here to, be a school teacher or a businessman or whatever. That's what you do. No, why are you here on this earth in 2024? Right? What's your purpose, brother? And it is a question that every man must answer at one point in their life, right? And guys,
Mm.
we can't take our cues from the culture on what our purpose is. The culture is going to try to tell us what type of man we're supposed to be, right? The culture is going to tell us what type of person they want us to be, but that's not our purpose. Our purpose comes from true north, right? It comes from God, and he tells us who we're supposed to be. That's the mission. And when the mission begins to be revealed, there's certain steps and actions that we ought to take to follow that mission. I'll say it like this, guys. A man will be the most on fire when he was following his God given purpose. He will be the most on fire when he is doing what he's on the earth to do. There is not another time in his entire life where he will feel the most purpose as when he is walking after what he is meant to do. And it's when we don't know what that is that we go gray. I don't know why I'm here, so why do anything, right? The IRS taught us this. The worst thing you can do when you owe them money is nothing. You better do something, right? Do something. I don't care what it is. Do something, right? That's the idea of the gray man. And that was me for a long time. And thank God there was men in my life and encouragement in my life and accountability in my life that called me up to a higher standard of living. And I aim to be that man now for other people behind me. You know, I don't want friends in my life that are going to call me up to go drinking. I want friends that are going to call me up to a higher standard of living, right? That's who I want to be for other brothers. And that's why I've given my time and my effort and my energy to defeating the gray man for other people.
Absolutely, bro.
So mentioning back to the gray man there, you said that for a while you were that gray man. What was one of the biggest challenges you faced going from the gray man to the man you are today?
Haha, dude, this great question. Sedentary living, right? I'm coming home. I'm pounding beers, right, dude? I'm sitting on the couch. I'm clicking through TV, right? I'm doing what's normal for my relax, and making that one switch of I need action instead of sedentary. Like I need to find a way for action to be my relaxing point. And it's so cool how our wiring is connected, right? You guys know this. When you get done with the lift, right? Endorphins are flowing, blood is flowing, sweat's moving. You feel so good, right? You feel alive. This is something that somebody who's sedentary, they don't understand that. How could you possibly feel good after doing something so strenuous and so physical? Dude, that switch takes place. All of a sudden, you're 5 miles down the road and you feel so alive, dude. I'm just, yes, bro. Yeah, let's go. Right. And I'm just amped, dude, because it's how you were meant to function. So taking that first step of convincing my mind that I'm actually going to feel good when I do something was pivotal. Now, I'm going to date myself here, but when I started going into this realm of growth and development, there wasn't people on the internet daily telling me that I had to fight my feelings. Bro, there was not YouTube and Twitter and all that stuff where these dudes was like, you got to fight your feelings and you got to go forward. It was just you and your accountability dude who was there next to you encouraging each other to go forward. We didn't have the daily reminder to fight the feelings. So I don't think that it made me any tougher or less hard or whatever, but it was a different type of coaxing, right? It was a different type of I had to find it in me, bro. I had to find it in me, not for the Twitter gains, man, or not for my coaching. I had to do that for me, man, for my kids. And you guys see this all the time because you're on the same platforms I'm on, but the why, people tell you to find the why, but until you really dig down and search why you want to do something, look, dude, I want to run when I'm 60. Like I want to be fit when I'm 60. I want to be jacked and tatted when I'm an old man, right? That was a why that started 20 years ago, working inside of me, and I had to stay on it, right? I had to stay moving, bro, progressing. And that was a big step, man. Convincing myself that I would actually enjoy the process. It's hard to do, but once you got out there and started feeling alive, bro, it made all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I know most definitely starting out the workout, like I'm busy a lot. And, taking that time out of my day to go work out, I'm like, man, like, I could be doing this instead and, advance forward. I can get one more work done, one more task done. But then stepping into it, that first set, I'm just like, man, that felt great. And then third set, the sixth set, 20th set, I'm like, man, like I'm on fire. Like I'm ready to go crush this. And it's definitely that's a dopamine hit right there that I believe everyone needs to be striving for instead.
100%, dude. 100%. And until you've touched that dopamine, you won't know how much it matters, right? Until you've experienced that release of chemicals, you won't know how good it feels to get that done, to knock it down, to accomplish that goal. Yes, sir, man. It's like a drug, bro.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And it's cool to hear you talk about kind of before social media, what it was kind of like to get started in kind of the fitness world, and trying to just inspire people to get out there and live their best lives. Because now it's almost like everything's so. It's like social media. Sometimes it gets to the point where it's almost like an echo chamber, and everyone's just kind of repeating the same thing over and over again, and kind of just
Yeah.
doing likes and views and things like that. But it's a whole other thing to be said for just doing it for you and yourself, and not really caring who else is watching. So
Yeah, dude, it was a crazy time to be alive, man. I joined Twitter in 2013. And
wow,
yeah,
like when you
it's
first getting started, like
right. And that's how I got my name, Nate Norman or whatever, and I just joined it kind of like you see these new ones pop up now. I think there was one a while back. Everybody shot me a text like, "Hey, you need to be on Freedom or whatever the name of this other one was," and like you go get your name. And I'm like, I remember the inception of all these things, right? I remember the first YouTube videos coming out, like Charlie bit my finger, dude. I was there for that, dude. And I'm like, this is great. And you would share it in email, dog. Like you would get a link in your email. It, it was crazy.
I love that.
I joke about this, guys, but y'all don't know the struggle. See, we got dating apps and stuff like that these days, but y'all don't know the struggle of being on AIM, Instant Messenger, dude, AOL Instant Messenger, trying to holler at a girl, dude. I mean, that was difficult, bro.
Oh,
Yeah, that's definitely not something I've ever done.
yeah.
AOL Messenger. Can't say I've been trying to DM girls on there. That's really funny.
Times are hard, bro, but it made your boy tough, man. Made me resilient, dude. I don't know.
Oh, that's too much. Too much.
Uh,
Good
I
stuff. Good stuff.
I don't even know where to pivot to after that one.
That's
Dude,
Man,
well, it's
I'll tell you this, man. I harp on dating apps, but that's all that there is out there, right? And I listened to this radio show where these guys call in for like a second date. You know, they try this girl's not calling them back, and they call in for the second date. And I listen to these pathetic little dudes beg for this girl to call them back, and they always meet on these dating apps and they match or whatever. I don't know how it works, dude. I've been married 15 years. I'm out the game, dude. I don't know how it works, but I can promise you this: if I were, God forbid, to ever get back in the game, I would not be caught dead on a dating app because I feel like the value of a man approaching a woman is something we all need to learn. Like you walking up to a woman and being like, "What's up, girl?" Right? What's up? Like I see you, you see me. What's up? Right? Let's talk, dude. Give me the digit, something, right? Holla at you. I don't know. I'm not going to shadow you on this little app and hope you match me and like me, right? That is ridiculous, dude. Listen, men, if you're listening to this and you are single and you are on a dating app, get your nuts together, right? God bless you. Love you. I mean that in love. Get your nuts together and approach a woman in real life. Dude, if she rejects you and calls you a creeper, fine. Whatever. Don't be less creepy next time. But good up and go approach a woman. You will not regret it. I promise you. I promise you. That was
I,
free. Side note. Sorry.
no, you're good. You're good. I was gonna say I actually met my most recent ex girlfriend. Same. I just walked up to her like in person and introduced myself. But I do use the dating app some, but like I think you also have to have the in person. If you never do that, then you're eventually just gonna kind of degrade that skill to the point where you're kind of scrawny, pathetic. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say, I think.
Yeah. Well, Grant, I did not mean it
No, it's
offensively.
okay. It's fine. I don't take offense.
He's like covering for the fact that he's on Hinge or whatever, dude.
I
He's
know what
just
you're
like,
trying to get at. I know what you're trying to
you
get at. Yeah, I understand what you were trying to say. That's funny. Um, cool. Anyway, next question. Next question I have for you, Nate, too. Here was like, what do you think has been the biggest thing you've learned? You've been on like you said, you've been on Twitter since like 2013. You've been here since the beginning of the game itself. What's like the biggest thing you've learned since getting started on there, man?
Oh, dude, man, this lesson was the hardest to swallow.
Yeah.
Man, I lurked on Twitter for so long, and then you start seeing the rise of the coach. You start seeing the rise of the influencer. We didn't have very many influencers back in the day, but you see the rise of it now. And I had lurked for so long, I was not contributing. I was just kind of looking at Twitter stuff, and you see their success, right? You see what they're doing, and you're like, oh, right. I also want a piece of that pie. And dude, I got caught in the comparison game, man. I got caught in it hard, dude. I'm like, look at them and I know way more than that person and I could be doing this and guys, this lesson is so pivotal, not just for Twitter, not just for social media, but for life. And I'll say it to you like this: if you compare and compete, you will live in defeat, right? You will live in defeat if you compare and compete. Meaning this, I cannot run my race at Grant's pace or Colin's pace, right? If we're running in a race and I'm looking over at you or I'm looking back to see where you are or I'm looking ahead at where you are, I will never focus on my own feet, right? I've got to run my race at my pace the best I can, right? God bless everybody who's succeeding. God bless everybody who's winning. God bless everybody who's trying, but I can't run at your speed. I will burn out if I try to run at your speed, and you will burn out if you run at my speed, and vice versa. If I run at Tyler Tott's speed, right? Different seasons. And so when I dialed in what success looked like for me, man, success for me wasn't copying somebody else or comparing my journey to somebody else. Success is very simple for me. It means this: doing the best I can in the season I am in for God's glory, right? Doing the best I can in my season for God's glory, right? Dude, and I'm in a different season than some of these bros, right? My success looks different. So when I finally let that sink into me, it just didn't matter, man. It didn't matter. Like if I was growing, it wasn't growing. Like if I'm getting clients, whatever, dude, God's got to sign off on everything that comes my way, right? God's got to put his hand of approval on everything that comes my way. So I just fall back, dude. And so that lesson for me was hard, dude. I spent so long just burnt out and frustrated that I couldn't win like the other guys, but I was winning, right? I was winning, and I was just winning in a different way, you know?
Yeah.
So that was a big lesson for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of like, everyone, I think some people at the beginning, they kind of get lucky and they kind of explode really quickly and they grow super quickly. But for people who maybe that's not the case, which I don't think it was really for me either. Um, it's all like you just kind of got to keep at it and not really compare yourself to what's going on around you and just kind of run at your own pace, I guess, like you said, and that's really where it's going to go. What's going to go the furthest for you in the long run.
100%, bro. 100%. Why'd you get on the platform in the first place, right? If you can do this for 20 years and not, you know, grow to 100,000 people, are you going to be cool, right? Are you going to be okay? And that's the questions, right? Why are you doing what you're doing right now? And I'll even go as far as to say this. I say this about ministry and I say this about Twitter. I say this about social media is if God didn't call you to do it, you need to stop doing it now, right? If it's not part of your mission and part of your purpose, you are just burning rubber, dude. You're spinning wheels in a sand pit and stop. But if it is part of your mission and is part of your purpose, you owe it to yourself to play the long game and do it every day, no matter what happens and what people say about you.
Absolutely.
Oh man, this is insane. I think I am gonna title this one "Nutsack Growth" with Nate Norman.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about, bro. Gather them up, get a pair, let's go, dude. And in a world that is trying to emasculate the man, right? We gotta grow a pair, dude.
Oh,
Let's
man.
go.
I'm with you, bro. I'm with you, honestly.
Yeah, dude, it's something that I'm very passionate about, man. We joke about it, we talk about it, but it really is true, man, that the world is trying to emasculate men, right? And that's all part of the mission, dude, is the heart of a man, right? Putting back the masculinity where it ought to go, right? Putting the things in a man's life that he ought to do. And part of it is because I need these people, bro. I need y'all to burn, right? I need y'all to be on fire. So when I see Colin online or I see Grant online and he actually picks the 600 off the ground, I'm like, dude, there's some dudes out here making steps, right? They're not just giving me cliches, right? They're not just giving me these quotes, man, and these what do they call that stuff where that you tweet that's there's a word
Platitude.
platitude. Thank you, right? I don't even know what platitude is, but apparently I'm not supposed to have them, right? And I don't need that stuff. What I need to see is you living a life that's on fire because that makes me want to live a life that's on fire, right? I need it. I need y'all to burn. I need me to burn, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, taking a little bit of a pivot, we've teased talking about the 8 arrows that every man should have. You care to dive into those and what each one's about and why you believe every man needs these?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, dude, I'm a bow hunter. You see my prize buck back there. I love shooting my bow, and there's quality arrows that I carry in that quiver. And when you shoot if it's a crappy arrow or not. And what the world is trying to tell a man he ought to have in his arsenal today is kind of soft, dude. It's kind of weak, man. And so I begin to pray and write about these specific arrows, these virtues, these pillars of masculinity and what it actually looks like. So the first arrow I feel like a man should have is spirituality. Like that's the first arrow you need to knock in your bow. And you cannot shoot any other arrow with purpose if you don't have that arrow. And you're like, well, man, Christianity is not really my thing. Well, fantastic. But where are you taking your orders from? Right? Where are you getting your direction from? And I like to reckon it to Jack Sparrow's compass. You guys remember Jack Sparrow's compass, dude? The thing's always wobbling left and right. It's going towards women, or it's going towards rum, or it's going towards treasure. And there was this flitting from weekend to weekend to desire to desire. Spirituality for me answers the true north question. Where am I heading? What am I doing? Right? Why am I here? That's the purpose question. So the first arrow that a man ought to put in his quiver is spirituality. Second thing is physicality. I believe, guys, a man ought to be strong. Thankfully, you guys agree with that, right? A man ought to be strong. Dude, we are raising an entire breed of men that don't have calluses, right? That are not strong men, right? 50 years ago, the chicken they ate and the food that they ate made these dudes strong. Plus the fact that they worked on farms, cut their own wood, changed their own tires, and did things that made them strong. And with the decrease of testosterone, the decrease of the food we eat, we have raised weak men. A man ought to be strong. If you are not strong, you owe it to yourself and to your future generation to become strong. That is a lifelong process. That is not a 6-week gym membership, right? That's lifelong. So a man ought to be strong. The third arrow I believe a man ought to have in his quiver is fortitude, toughness, right? Grit. The men ought to be tough. Dude, you ever met a tough dude? You shake his hand, you're like, son of a gun, dude. You're just a tough looking dude. I know if I had to fight you, I'd have to use a 2x4 to kill you, right? Because you are tough looking. It's the one dude that you walk in, you're like, all right, don't want to mess with that dude. He's a tough looking dude. So many men today, they're not tough. Yeah, I don't know how else to say it. There's a bunch of sissy pansy walking around, right? And we owe it to ourselves, guys, to find things that are going to create toughness in our life. That's why we do ice baths, right? How do I create fortitude? Well, you schedule regular adversity. I don't care if it's running a marathon. I don't care if it's lifting up 600 pounds. I don't care if it's getting in the ice. I don't care if it's having a conversation with a real woman. Whatever difficulty is for you, you pursue it. You do not avoid it. And I've got entire books written about the fact that we've created a lifestyle built on comfort, right? Our shoes, our beds, our couches, our cars, our office chairs, every single thing is meant to take pressure off the muscles, guys, and make us weak. But a man should be uh, strong and courageous. He should have fortitude. So that's the third arrow. The fourth one is balance, man. If you ever met an out of balance man, you know what this looks like. This is the dude who, when he starts drinking, you're like, oh crap. Oh crap. Here we go. He's gonna get drunk, right? He's gonna take his shirt off and he's gonna threaten a smaller dude. You're gonna have to fight everybody. He's out of balance with his drinking, or he's out of balance with his eating, or he's out of balance with his finances, or he's out of balance with sex, and he's chasing women all the time. Balance. A man should have self-control and balance. This arrow touches every single other arrow, right? If a man's in balance, he shoots every single other arrow with precision. He balances his faith. He balances his checkbook. You guys don't know what that is. That's something you could actually write out. Amen. Somebody. No, but he balances his bank accounts, right? He balances his world, and I believe a man should have that. Next one is honor, guys. I believe a man should be an honorable man. What does that mean? It means you're not a creeper, dude. You're not trying to smash chicks sideways when you're married, right? It means you're not looking at pornography. You're being honorable. You're not embezzling money from your company. You're honorable. And men used to have this. They used to carry it. And if you've ever met an honorable man, it's almost like a vibe, dude. It's like an energy. Like this dude has something about him that we call it stoicism now, right? It was just this presence around this guy. A man should be honorable. It means he's trustworthy. His church can trust him. His wife can trust him. His bank can trust him. His friends can trust him. You could call this dude and say, "Hey, watch my kids," and not worry. He's honorable. He's trustworthy, and that stems into the realm of integrity. A man of his word, being a man of integrity, right? The last couple is friendship, guys. For some reason, I don't know if you've experienced this yet, but most men my age tend to go alone, right? They drive into their garage, they close the door behind them, almost like sealing up the castle. They go into their castle. We have back porches where we do our grilling instead of front porches where we talk to our neighbors, and we begin to isolate ourselves. Isolation is the first step to domination and depression. When a man goes quiet, he goes dark, he goes gray, his friendships die, he goes flatline. So it's our duty to maintain strong friendships. Dude, I want my sons around men who are men of God, right? I want my daughters to see other grown women living a pure life, living a good life as a wife, as a mother, as a leader, right? That's what I want my kids around. It's my duty to create friendships. I need that arrow in my quiver. And I'll say it to you like this, guys. If you do not see the man that you need in your life, you must become the man that other people need, right? If you don't see him, you got to become him. You got to become that friend because 9 times out of 10, dude, those people don't exist. So we got to become that man. Lastly, vision. A man should have in his arsenal vision. Where are you going? What's your purpose? What do I see? I'll give you an example. COVID, bro, COVID, right? The great lockdowns. People were saying, man, go stock up on toilet paper, right? Go get chicken because they're going to run out of chicken. Take this vaccine, man, all stuff. And I ain't trying to get into where you stand, but somebody somewhere has got to see what's coming down the pipeline and scout out what to do, right? A man's got to be that one. A man's got to be the one that steps up and says, all right, I see what's coming. I need to adjust accordingly. I see what's coming down. I see what they're asking me to do, but I need to make my decisions. I'm looking down the road. Vision, foresight, which is tied directly back to that first arrow, north, spirituality, true compass pointing direction, right? And so these are the arrows, man. These are things that I feel like some people call them virtues. Some people call them pillars. I just love bow hunting, and I feel like when I have these 8 arrows in my quiver, I can shoot at any target in the world. Right? Anything that comes down the path, I'm prepared. I can pull out balance, or I can pull out vision, or fortitude, or strength, or spirituality, and I'm prepared to fight.
Awesome. Yeah, that's powerful stuff, man. I mean, honestly, like it sounds like just a very good kind of sound foundation for how to live your life. I think the biggest thing for me, so like growing up, I kind of was always considered myself Christian, but was never like really acting in alignment with that. And I think as I've kind of grown more and more into my faith, it's like just having that kind of sense of direction of like kind of the North Star of like where you're going to, is very powerful.
Dude, it's one of the greatest things we can discover in our life, man. I
Absolutely.
I highly encourage anybody to listen to this or anybody who's gonna be checking this out to, I'm happy to send you a Bible. I wrote a devotion book that kinda walks people through how to get started reading the Bible and some little snippets of how to grow their faith. But before any other pillar, before any other arrow, before any other virtue, establish your faith. Connect with connect with God, understand why you're here. And dude, I'll say this, man, there's some people that might be like, dude, religion, I've kind of been burned by that. It's the people of the religion that's ruined it. Fine. But there's people in politics that ruin that, but you still vote, right? There's people in Walmart that are stupid, but you still go. And we cannot let the bad that's happened be the bad within us, right? We cannot let the bad that people did become the bad that we do. You owe it to yourself to figure out this pillar above all others. This is the foundation on which a man's life is built. And I believe that once you build a true and strong foundation, every other stone falls in place.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one other thing that kind of maybe ties in with this a little bit, but like you were talking about some of the other arrows. And I know you mentioned like fitness and was kind of was a big part of it. I don't know if that was explicitly one of them, but it kind of tied into most of them, honestly, in my opinion. Like, what kind of a role? Because I mean, obviously, Colin and I are both health and fitness coaches too, right? So, like, what kind of a role does that kind of play in your life, and um, how does that kind of influence both your business and also like kind of how you structure your program?
That's a great question, Grant. This is like brushing my teeth, dude. It's just what we do, right? It's not a think game. It's not a feelings game. It's just what we do. And I love it. I thoroughly enjoy it, man. I love running. So I'm doing a hybrid style right now. I got a buddy who's big into like the golden era style of lifting. And
Mhm.
he's big into these failure sets. And so I'll go with him sometimes. And he'll have me doing like 100 dips and then move over to 100 press downs for tricep extensions, straight into skull crushers, right? And
Yep.
I'm dying, right? I'm like, "Oh my goodness." But also I feel alive. Then the next day, I'll go out and run 8 miles, right? And keeping this
Love that.
balance. So I enjoy it. I love it. I love physicality, man. I love fitness, and I believe it's part of my life. And I joked with Colin earlier, man, that I believe a dad, especially a dad, ought to be strong enough to yeet his kids clear across the pool up into the air, right? Just yeet them, bro. Just send them, right? So much so that they're nervous when like, are you gonna catch me? Right? They're nervous up there, and you're like, I'm shooting you to the moon because I'm sending you up there. And other dads at the pool are like, I wish I could do that. Well, I'm about to yeet your kid too if they come over here, right? Just send them, bro. Just
I love that.
whatever.
That's awesome.
Uh,
That's awesome. Yeet. That's
Uh,
see when I'm a dad, I want to be yeeting my kids too.
Dude,
Maybe the
that's
coolest story. I'll drop them. What's up?
it's the greatest thing. It's a rite of passage, man. The rite of all these new dads on Twitter. I see them like, "Hey, I had my first son today. Congratulations!" I'm like, "All right, practice the yeet. Get ready because it's coming." You want to be able to yeet that kid, and I understand your wife's gonna be like, "That's too high. Then you stop." That's the green light. Right? Don't let that be the deterrent. That's the green light. When she start hollering in, that's motivation. You're like, "Oh yeah, watch this, girl," and you're like, "Boom!" And
Yeah.
if you can put your hands by your side while they're up there, that's a win. That's when your dad level 1,000, right? You put your hands by your side. Look, girl, how confident I am in my ability to catch this child, right? My hands are down. Then you bring them back up and catch that child. And look at her like Why don't you try some crap like that? Yeah.
So funny. That's really good. That's really good. I love it, man. It's awesome.
Oh,
It's,
that was probably the best part I've ever heard in my life.
yeah.
That might be the favorite thing. That's why I'm gonna start training from here on out. It's just like I'm just gonna practice picking things up and throwing them in
Eating
the
like
air.
sandbags, like
Yeah, I'm grabbing the sandbag. I'm grabbing this 200. I'm throwing this. I'm
200.
tossing. I'm eating my kids until the day I
Like, this
die.
baby's gonna be eating you. Yeah, I was gonna say.
There we go, dude. That's it. They're like, what are you training for? Well, I'm actually a yeeter, a professional yeeter. I yeet babies.
I
So
love it.
that's why I
I love
train, dog.
That's really good. That's really good. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, I mean, that's pretty much all I got. Colin, any other questions for Nate, or
I mean, I
Okay.
wasn't gonna end it on the yeet, but he
you
explained
took the
it.
words right out of your mouth? Yeah.
He beat me to it. So
Absolutely. Cool. Well, guys, this is awesome. Again, this is Trainer Talk episode 8 with Grant and Colin. Yeah, stay tuned for the next one. I had a blast here. I hope you guys did too.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely.